Hello, Nomads, and welcome to episode 31. We are in the 30s, guys. And my name is Brandon. I am the host of the Nomads of Fantasy podcast. And I just was talking to who? Who was I talking to? I was talking to Eric.
I used to be an adventurer like you, till I took an arrow to the knee.
Oh, and you got an accent in there. Good job.
You gotta have the accent.
Makes it classier.
Yeah. And I'm also here with Dave. What's going on, Dave?
Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures.
I love that one.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. These are quotes from the great, amazing, It Will Never Die game called Skyrim. So a lot of people have heard it.
May have heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, I may have heard of this one. And, this game, I'll tell you what, I was thinking about when I was playing this game, researching for this episode.
Leave me
We
alone.
all did a lot of research.
Leave me alone. I'm
Yeah,
researching.
dude.
Get away from me.
I know. I truly appreciate the world that they have created. I mean, we've been in like movies, but movies are 2 hours, so it's very short, and you can kind of bust out a movie. Like we were talking about Whiplash. I know there's post-production, but like Whiplash was made in like 19 days for a 2 hour movie, or not even 2 hour movie or something like that. But Skyrim, I think, took like 10 years to make or something, or 6 or something. I don't know, 7 years. And
It's a while. They don't release them very often.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's just all that work to make this incredibly dense game that's fun to play too. Like, what a shame to like spend all this time making lore and then it just doesn't connect.
There's a reason why it's been re-released 500 times since it came out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. And well, we'll get into it. But like, I don't know, these updates are great. It's so interesting. So that's why we're talking about it today, because they just released the anniversary update.
10-year anniversary.
Yeah, 11/11/11 is when it came out. And we're recording this in the beginning of December of 2021. And yeah, man, that game is so good that we had to talk about it. So
It's only 5 years after Oblivion, actually, which seems pretty short for me.
That does seem like a short development life cycle.
Oblivion was 06 and 360 was 2011, so there's a lot of stuff that carries over. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
A lot of the it's not like they're reinventing the wheel or anything, but
Right. It's just a really good Oblivion, I guess.
well, yeah. Elder Scrolls all kind of have that, but yeah, we can get into that.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's catch up. So, Dave, what have you been up to since we last recorded?
I actually have a chunk of stuff. I'm gonna rip through a couple. No Man's Sky. How cool are they? They decided that they're redoing all of the expeditions that were like 2-week or 4-week things that you could do throughout the year. They're just going to redo them all at, starting now till Christmas. So that's coming up.
That's
so
cool.
so you can get the Normandy again, which is why I'm getting prepped and ready for that. There was Black Friday sales, so I had to buy some games. I bought some Immortals Phoenix Rising. I know, Brandon, you played more of this than I have. It seemed a lot like Zelda and God of War had a baby. It's like that open world.
A little Assassin's Creed Odyssey in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely that mixed with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it seems pretty good. It's a little cheesier, a little corny, but
I was gonna say that combination sounds like something I would love, but every time I've watched gameplay of it, it's like I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't appeal to me.
yeah, anything with mythology in it, I'm usually in for. So probably gonna ride that one out. There was a movie that came out on Netflix called 8-Bit Christmas. Have you guys seen or heard of that?
Yep, that was that on HBO Max? I thought that was on HBO Max.
Yeah, it is. And we were just watching it. We didn't finish it.
Okay.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah, we just kind of trailed off on that movie.
I thought it was pretty good in the beginning, and then I kind of did the same towards like.
I've heard a lot.
They did not stick the landing, but
I
like the beginning. It's like a Christmas story.
I've heard a lot of people say it was better than I thought it would be. Is that?
Yeah.
It felt
Yeah, I
like
give it
a
that.
Hallmark. It felt like a Hallmark movie not that bad, but it felt like I've seen so many Hallmark movies because of my mother-in-law's.
It's that time.
A Hallmark movie, but like the script was big enough to get Doogie Howser to be in it, and he just like narrates.
It's like
over
Princess
his
Bride.
childhood.
It's basically like
Bad kid actors.
Christmas Story and Princess Bride mixed into one. The kid actors weren't bad. I didn't mind them.
I do like A Christmas Story.
Like the kid with the Nintendo that they all had to go to their house and like beg.
That kid was okay.
Like that was goddamn hilarious. It was like so fantastical but it's like also a little bit true. You know, you always wanted to go to the kids' house with the Nintendo. But
I feel like the script when they wrote, I just needed more time, and I feel like the idea was there, and I related to like the dad constantly working on the house and yelling, and like I don't know, I got that whole vibe, but none of the jokes landed, and I didn't like any of the characters. So I feel like I wish they spent a little more time with this one, but whatever.
You gotta finish it, and we have to discuss the ending of it because I'm kind of curious to hear what you're gonna say.
Is it worth the watch? Should I bother watching it?
I mean, you could watch Home Alone for the 15th time, or you can watch this. I mean,
well, Home Alone is a fantastic Christmas classic.
It is, but
that's like my favorite Christmas movie.
I know, man. That movie is perfect.
Near perfect, yes. But
dude, I saw the making of that movie, and that was incredible, by the way.
Yeah, the things that are movies that made us on Netflix is. It's got a good one on
that. That sounds like a perfect like bored on Christmas break kind of movie. Like I don't know what to do today. Let's just throw this movie on.
Yeah, have a puzzle or something else. Be doing something else while the movie's on. That's
you just have it on. Have it on in the background.
Pro tip there. Just you only need to absorb like the outer parts of it. And then the last thing I've been doing is I've been reading a shit ton of Alice in Borderlands. I'm like, I gotta be like 80% of the way through this thing. I don't know.
Nice.
The numbers on the thing are kind of goofy, but I'm in like the 50s, 60s area. But a lot of shit happens. I'm really looking forward to season 2 now. We give a little bit more light about like to the dealers. The dealers are the ones that are making and setting up the games. They get into a little bit of that, and I mean, you get like a lot more side stories, a lot of fleshing out of the other characters that you only got to meet at the beach or you got to meet in the beginning. So I don't want to spoil anything, but it's definitely worth a read. Takes a little bit to get used to reading right to left. That's always interesting.
Oh yeah.
But
yep.
There's Chota still pokes his nose in there. Chota and Karube every once in a while in a flashback or something.
Oh, okay. I love those characters.
That silver-haired fucking guy is still around. He's always being a shithead wherever he goes.
Oh, yeah, the sly.
Yeah,
I forgot his name.
Sneaky
transgender girl in the bikini. She's hanging out, she's doing some karate moves and shit, and I don't know.
Okay.
But the best part still in the books is still the games. Like just watching people go through the games and seeing what the fuck happens. Like it gets just as intense in the book, and they even have some side ones where they didn't do them in the first season. So
that's what I was going to ask you. Okay, sweet,
that's cool.
Just there's not a ton. It sticks surprisingly. Like the show sticks really close to the books. Like some shots you can recognize. There's not a lot of fluff built in there. They're kind of.
Did you enjoy the beach stuff more in the manga than in the show?
I didn't have to listen to that horrible song over and over again, which was which was great for the pool parties. But it was quicker, I guess I would say.
Okay.
Like some of the games take like 4 books to get through, because like they'll do like a flashback in the beginning to like do backstory on somebody, and then they'll cut to the game and they'll make it's weird because sometimes it seems like they're making decisions based off of the flashbacks, which they do in the show, which I thought was kind of weird, but I don't know, whatever. They have this crazy foresight, but it's good. I think season 2 comes out on Netflix next year. 2022 is the confirmed time. I'm assuming in the fall, October, November, in the sweeps period. But that was about all I got through. There's a lot of stuff this week. What you up to, Eric?
A couple things here. One I did. I played through Unpacking. I just kind of played through that over the weekend, and that game is surprisingly really good.
You finish it?
Yeah, I did finish it.
Nice.
It's only, I don't know, 3 hours or something to get through. But yeah, like we talked about before, I mean, the basic premise of the game is you're just unpacking all of these objects, putting them on shelves where they go, blah, 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 blah. But the reason I loved it is it tells this really subtle story in the background.
It does. I noticed that.
That's
I didn't
really
finish
cool.
it.
It's so cool because like they do this all through objects. Like there's no characters, there's no cutscenes, there's no dialogue or anying.
Yeah,
it's
dude.
all through like, I mean, you get these like one-liner sentences in like the scrapbook that you're filling out as you go through it. But everything like has to be inferred from like everything that you're unpacking, all the story and everything. And I don't know, they do it in a really, really smart way. I don't know. And it just got to me. I feel like it's so relatable just because they do this thing where like you start at the beginning with a certain set of objects, and then as you go through each stage, apparently, and it like you take certain objects with you throughout the entire game. So like you have, for example, you have this like stuffed pig. You have this stuffed pig when you were like a kid, and it's all whatever. It's brand new. And then by the end of it, you still have it, but it's all like ratty and torn up and everything.
Oh.
And like, I don't know. They do some really, really cool things. It got me a little bit emotional at the end there.
You
so
get sad.
I recommend finishing it.
Tucking the teddy bear like, I don't need you anymore. I've grown out of you, but you still put it like on the bed somewhere in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some things that you lose throughout the game too. Like you're like, oh, I don't know, this like there's a GameCube that you have towards the beginning of the game, and eventually you upgrade it to a Wii, and like so it's cool how it does a couple of those little things there.
Nice.
But I recommend finishing it if you haven't yet. Let's see, another thing I checked out. I wanted to check out a game on the Xbox Cloud stuff, Beta Cloud, that they just released on consoles. So I booted up Octopath Traveler actually. Because I don't know, I've been wanting like just a relaxing like JRPG to get into. I don't know why, but I've been in the mood for that, like a turn-based type thing recently. So I've been wanting to play Octopath Traveler for a while, so I booted that up on the cloud, and it works like super well. Like I was very surprised on how well it works.
I did like a strategy-esque kind of game, like a sim builder on the cloud 2 nights ago. I'm hardwired in, and it was great. I was like, this is kind of a game changer.
Dude, I did it over Wi-Fi, and it was still really, really good.
Oh, did you?
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Damn, that's awesome.
Like there was you could notice it a little bit. There was a couple little like stutters, or like the quality would drop for a second, but then it would go back up. But like a turn-based RPG like that is the perfect thing to play on the cloud, because it's like you don't need to have like any reactive controls or anything. There might be a little bit of input lag, but it doesn't really matter. And the graphics in that game are like that HD 2D style, so like it's like pixel graphics, but kind of created in 3D, and that lends itself really well to kind of like lower quality. If you hit a buffer or something, like it doesn't really, you don't really notice it as much with a game like that.
Hurt. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. So, but that was like the perfect game for it. So I had a good time with that.
I'm gonna delete. I think to free up space, I'm gonna delete a lot of these slow based, smaller indie puzzle-y, non-Twitch games because of this. Like, thank you Xbox. Like that fucking is dope.
It is definitely good enough. Like, I mean, obviously they have some ways to go with it if you're gonna be playing something like Halo or over the cloud or whatever. But like you're saying, these slower games are perfect for it. Like, yeah, you free up your hard drive space, just boot it up instantly, and you're right back in there. So that was really cool. Looking forward to checking more of that stuff out. One more thing that I had, if you're ever in Rochester, New York, you should check out the Strong Museum of Play, because it's fantastic. Like,
I was just there a couple of weeks ago for the Star Wars takeover. Yeah,
dude,
so fun, dude. We're lucky to have.
We are lucky to have that around here, because like all the video game stuff and the toy museum and everything is really cool. So we brought our son there.
Interactive.
Yeah, It's awesome. We brought our 2-year-old son there, and he just had a blast. But he really latched on to. They have a Miss Pac-Man machine there, near like the
upstairs
little train ride.
The arcade game section. There's a pinball section. There's an arcade section.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, so you're in the old arcade area. Love it.
Well, this was actually like I don't know. This was all on its own. It's like near the train ride downstairs, like near the mini Wegmans.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's right. They have that one down there. I don't know why.
It's in the It's in the section where it's like there's a whole section down there of women in video games.
Years. Yep.
So there's a Miss Pac-Man machine right there, and he was like, I don't know why, but he really latched onto that. Like we went back to that machine like 3-4 times throughout the day, and he kept saying like he wanted to play the ghost game.
He's got that like, Pac-Man fever.
Eat the ghosts. Yep, he's got the Pac-Man fever.
So you gotta play. It might be on Switch, but I know it's on Xbox. It's up to 4 players, and it's basically like a runner. It's a Pac-Man runner. And
yeah,
Pac-Man,
I played that.
It's Pac-Man
365,
255, something like that.
265.
I played that.
It has 3 numbers and 65s in there.
That was a good one. But where I was going with this. We played when we got home. He kept saying he wanted to play the ghost game, so I actually had Pac-Man Championship Edition on my PlayStation. We booted that up, and then I also the Namco Museum collection was on sale for like $7, and that has Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaga, like all the classic Namco games. So we were playing that for a little bit too. So every now and then he'll be like, I want to play the ghost game. So we go upstairs and play a little bit of Pac-Man. So
yeah, it's good.
It's been fun.
Get that kid, get a controller in his hands and,
Yeah, man.
Let him go.
Yep. He loves it. But yeah, that was all I had. What about you, Brandon?
I have one thing. I watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I thought you were going to say the Beatles documentary. I'm surprised you haven't watched that yet.
I know. I want to see it. We've just been... It's a holiday season, man. It's holidays and projects.
Gotta get into the spirit.
So, but yeah, we watched that, and I forget how good it is. I wanted my kids to see it. What's that?
It's always
it never gets old. It's got some things you got to like distract your kids for, but most of the time it's pretty good.
At the end when he's cussing out his boss, that's pretty.
So there's some swearing, but that's about it. I don't know. I mean, it's not too bad. There was I'll tell you one thing though. So my son is 7, my other one is 3, and maybe they're too young to see this, but I mean, whatever. I don't know. I mean, they'll watch Star Wars where people literally get stabbed and heads cut off and shot. So like,
sure,
this is just people swearing. Like, get over yourself. So anyways, I don't know. I don't know why I said that, but so yeah, I'm watching this movie, and there's the one scene where Clark Griswold is fantasizing about the pool.
Oh yeah,
and then it turns
that
from like this
too.
thing for the family to the perfume woman or whatever from the beginning of the movie, and she's an attractive woman, all that stuff, and he's fantasizing about her. She shows up in his fantasy. She jumps in the pool. She does the whole thing where she's coming out of the pool with her like top off or whatever, bathing suits off, and just before you see her boobs or whatever, like he's woken up by his niece or whatever, snapped out of it by his niece. So during that whole scene, my wife and I are watching our 7-year-old son. He's standing in front of the TV just watching. Like, all right, he's 7. Like
he's entranced.
Is this? I don't know if he's at the age now where he, like, is he into this woman? Is he like, why am I feeling like this? Right. So I'm like poking him, look, we're like kind of laughing at each other. And then out of nowhere, he just turns around and is like, why did she get in the pool without clothes on? That's so weird. And I'm like, you're so innocent, dude. Oh, that's so good. But I will say that, I don't know if I sound like a dirtbag for saying this, but Ellen's outfit at the final dinner on the final night in the movie, she has like a really attractive outfit to the point where
does she look like a pilgrim?
She has like this white top, but like it buttons at her neck.
Yeah,
and then
maybe I remember that.
It opens up around the chest area.
Oh.
And then she has like a poofy green dress and stockings or something like that,
Sure.
or leggings or something like that. And I'm like, that's a pretty attractive outfit. I don't know.
She was hot back then. And then as the National Lampoon's movies went on, I think she She did not age gracefully, sadly.
Yeah, Beverly D'Angelo. Yep.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I lost track.
I think that was probably her peak hotness, was the Christmas Vacation.
But that's a great movie. It's funny. It's still good. It's got a fun soundtrack. I love the lines. It's one of my go-to Christmas movies.
Yeah, you gotta watch that every.
I miss it last year. So, yeah.
I will say that movie is a lot longer than you think it is. Like, dude. Every time I watch it, I'm like, wow, this isn't over yet. I'm like, oh.
When Cousin Eddie shows up, like oh my god, the acting, the body, like him and Cousin Eddie and Clark, whatever, their body humor that they do in that movie is really good, especially when those two are together. And I really enjoy it.
When he's getting the eggnog and he's basically like walking around poking at things, and Clark's having to follow up, clean at it. Like, that's fantastic.
He goes up to that. There's like a candle like lighting this thing that propels on its own. Like windmill,
yeah.
And he just walks up to it, and as soon as he touches it, he collapses. I literally laughed out loud. I was just like,
there's so many good scenes in that movie.
It's just so smooth. It just felt real. And Clark was like,
One of my favorites is when they got the whole nice dinner set up, and like they're about to carve the turkey, and it just just deflates,
dude.
It's sound, like so dry. It's amazing.
The sound effect of the sound production, it reminds me, the sound production is pretty good. So like everybody's chewing on the food. It's just super chewy. You can't eat it. You're the gelatin.
It's like they're chewing on jerky.
They're drinking on water. You hear the sound is like really cranked up, and you can hear everybody like cutting through everything,
scratching on the plates.
And then out of nowhere,
the dog.
Out of nowhere, you just hear the sound is just Eddie, is that your dog?
It's like, oh nope, you got it. And you hear the
he's just yakking on a bone. Oh god. Yeah, that movie is, I don't know, it's like, is it like a 10 out of 10 movie? No, but it's just some movies
close. Christmas classic.
It's pretty close and dumb and fun, and I totally put it up there. So I don't know, it was a blast watching that movie. Okay, let's take a break, and then let's get into some Skyrim. We have returned, and we bring you tales from the world of Elder Scrolls. I'm sorry, I had to, man. We're talking about fucking dragons and magic and castles and shit.
Some fantasy.
The Dragonborn.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love this game. Hold on, actually, slow down, Brandon. We have a social segment that we want to hit on. Segment. Yeah. So, Eric, you put it out there that we were going to be talking about Skyrim. You had a couple people reply and share some. But yeah, what did they say?
Yeah, I just asked for, your favorite memories of Skyrim, what you like about it, whatever. But first, you can follow us at Nomads of Fantasy on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us nomadsoffantasy@gmail.com. Questions, comments, all that good stuff. You can also visit us at our website, thenomadsoffantasy.com, to find all of our social channels and where to listen to us, backlog of episodes, all that good stuff. So, started off, Andrew Burns says, he told us a nice little story of one of his favorite memories of when he was playing Skyrim. He says, once I was out in the wilds when I saw my wife, Alia, I don't know, I'm assuming one of the wives you can get in the game, and a couple of other companions fighting someone. I closed in to find it was a rare wisp mother, which I don't think I had ever seen outside of Labyrinthia at that point. But before I could join the fray, I felt a huge thud that almost knocked me to the ground. As I turn, I find a frost dragon staring me right in the face. The two of us just looked at each other, stunned for a minute, before all hell broke loose. My brother happened to be watching when that happened, and we both screamed out loud. Definitely my favorite Skyrim memory.
That's what
it's good when somebody next to you is watching it and they screamed.
Yeah, those are the kind of stories that
everybody's got a story, and everybody's got like a you should have seen this shit kind of thing. So It's good to hear.
It really does feel, it really does feel like, you're traveling around this world and you go back to your friends to tell stories of your travels and everything. So that was a really good one. Jake Iveson, our number one fan, good buddy here, says, "This is my favorite game of all time." I'm with you, Jake.
Awesome.
I've put thousands of hours into it and probably bought it 6 different times. On console, the game was amazing, but when I started playing it on PC with mods, it turned incredible. User content in Bethesda games is something I hope never leaves. Agreed.
Which,
absolutely.
After the latest update with all the Creation Club stuff and mods, it's that's I think that's why it lasts so long, is because I don't know, like playing the vanilla 360 one right now does not sound as fun as the modded up version. It's not even close. So agreed, Jake.
SP Film Viewers shout out says, "Next to Pokemon, this is one of my favorite games of all time and the one I most enjoy revisiting. Having owned it on various platforms and tried it out different races/classes, it offers different experiences every time," which I totally agree with. And then Ryan Wilson says, "Bought a Switch finally to play Breath of the Wild. So far, I've only played Skyrim."
Yeah, I like it. You know what? You know what that reminds me? So when I was doing a little research on this game,
which
is not me playing it, but like real research. YouTube, Wikipedia. No, anyways, I learned that there's like this Japanese magazine, video game magazine, I guess, and they're very hard to please, and I guess they've never really seen any games from the West that were like, this is a really good game. But I guess Skyrim they graded very high. Like,
it's Famitsu, right? It was Famitsu, right? Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, and I'm like, that's impressive, because I do know that like there's the way the Japanese approach RPGs. That's why they have their own subgenre to us, at least here in the West, the Japanese RPG. For them to look at Skyrim and say, "Hats off, it's the hell of a game." I don't know. I think that says something, especially when you're a gamer and you just know the differences in these genres. Like, they're so different, and I don't know, I think that goes a long way. So
Skyrim crosses cultures. It's Skyrim has no borders. Everybody can love it. Technically, it does.
Although it does have it has invisible walls, which annoy me, because like you'll go to a road, like, oh, I can go to another area. It's like, turn around, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, then just block it off.
Yeah,
put a guard here or something.
They're pretty good about that usually in that game. Like, they put like big mountains, that you can't scale.
Oh yeah, of course.
That you can't get over, but
everything inside you can literally go into.
If you see that mountain, you can go to it. That I remember when they're first given their E3 pitch. That was their whole thing. Like, you see that mountain in the distance, you can go there, you can climb it. And that was kind of one of the things that's kind of
that's one of the charms of it, is that like you can just go do whatever you want, not within the fantasy world, but
So if you've never played this game or heard about it, or I don't know, maybe you're just getting in the game,
been living under a rock,
like, it's part of the Elder Scrolls series. This is the 5th game that they have made. It was made by Bethesda, which is led by Todd Howard.
Yep.
Thank you, Todd Howard. Who's the man? Like, we were gushing about him earlier, about how just we saw a video and he's talking about their next, because they do Fallout and they also do their new IP coming up is Star Citizen? Starfield. Starfield. Thank you. And you just listen to the guy talk, and he truly is up there with, Tolkien and George Lucas. I think, like, the guy has a vision. He seems pleasant to work with. I don't know. This is just an outsider, but this guy has been doing these games for so long. It seems like like you said it, Dave, he gets it. He just kind of gets what we want out of his stuff that he makes, or his team.
I don't know. He's just a master of like world building and I don't know, keep it like knowing what the player wants to do, and like the player making their own stories as they play, which is a big part of a lot of their games.
You can tell that he really loves what he creates, and you can tell that he likes to play the games that he makes, and that I feel like is the ultimate, like, I don't know, game developer trait that is the best. Like, you have to make a game that you enjoy playing, and I feel like you can tell that he does.
Yeah, I mean, how do you talk about this without talking about the creator? And like the dude, remember when the other series they have, Fallout, they came out Fallout 76, and they have a very passionate fan base. This is what Dave listened to the podcast. Yeah. Dave has been talking about Fallout 76 for a while, and it's an online-based Fallout game. And when he rolled that out, he was so, I don't know, I kind of felt bad because it's not like he's phoning it in, but he was kind of called out. They have some of their issues on a technical level sometimes with their games. They're kind of known for their bugs and glitches and all that stuff, but they're just doing so much that I think he really felt like he let down the fan base. I liked how he handled it. He just owned it. It's like, you let me know. We will be adding everything. And they have had this great kind of conversation, kind of like the No Man's Sky, where like you come up with something, you have this fan base or whatever, an audience, and they didn't like it, and you responded well to it. So I don't know. Again, hats off to
a lot of that. I think came from
for doing that.
Like they took like the Fallout and Skyrim engine and like tried to, we're gonna have 24 people run around in here and kind of fix that. And I think if it was delayed, maybe a year, half a year, I don't know, something. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the internal. They probably had to release it by a certain time. Like they did rush it out, so it was poorly received and properly poorly received when it released. But they have like you said, they have done a lot of work on it. Seen a lot. After I saw my Xbox Museum and I saw that was my most played game for like the last 3 years, I'm like, oh man, what have I done? But at the same time, like, I don't know, it's good. So
we're talking about how much Todd cares about his games, and like, I don't know, any other game developer could have just, if they released this stinker, they could have just been like, whatever, we'll just chalk that one up as a loss and move on to the next thing. But I mean, they've continued to support it, and you can tell that they're really putting the work in, and it shows. So
let's talk about 76 a lot more. Maybe we have our own 76 episode at this point.
This is all setting up the fact of why Skyrim is a good game and why Bethesda Game Studios is a fantastic studio.
When you look at Skyrim, it's not just a video game. It's the big name of a series, but it's a pretty good series.
Skyrim has transcended the Elder Scrolls.
Well, yeah, the Elder Scrolls
for sure
is the world, and it's just like another chapter more.
Yeah, and it's like to us, it's us gamers that like fantasy shit. Star Wars, who made it. It's George Lucas, right? The music matters, the sound matters, the all the little things that make up Star Wars, all the little things that make up Harry Potter, all the little things that make up Lord of the Rings. This is the same shit we have, except it's with Skyrim, or I'm sorry, with Elder Scrolls. And Skyrim was just the big one. It was just so good. Every time they made one, it got better and better and better. And when they got to the fifth one, it's the amount of stuff you can do, and then the way they've been supporting it and allowing the community to make stuff for it. And it's really this sandbox that you can go in to this day and play on multiple consoles, even on Nintendo Switch, even in VR. It's just incredible. And it's one of those games that's kind of like why we have this podcast, because if you're going to go into a world, I mean, it's not even like it looks good and it's fun to play. There are books in this game. There's so much lore. I learned just researching this, how much lore. It's kind of baffling. Like, I'll never know everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can't read all those books. Like there's so many books.
Well, some of them are so long, dude. I swear to God, I'll read like a couple of the short ones here and there, but there are some that are literally like more than 20 pages long. Like, I'll just flip through it to see how many pages there are in it, and I'm like, holy shit! Someone sat down. One of the writers at Bethesda sat down and I'm sure this had to be a team of writers that they had. There's no way one person wrote all these books, but like they wrote hundreds of books, like legit books that are just scattered throughout the entire world, and they tell the history of Skyrim. Some are fiction, like in that world, and some are nonfiction. Some are telling like the history of Tamriel, which is the continent that all of these countries are on, Skyrim, all that stuff. But it's just really interesting reading a lot of that stuff.
I mean, think Game of Thrones, where like you learn about the Targaryens, and they're like, 1,000 years ago, we had all these dragons, and we ruled the continent, and everybody. There's all these like, stories in these ages of, and same thing with Star Wars. In Lord of the Rings, they have, the different eras that they talk about. Same thing with Elder Scrolls. It's crazy. I think from Oblivion, which was the 4th Elder Scrolls game, 70 years or 700 years or 200 years, some like time goes by between 4 and 5. But when they write those books, those stories they're not throwaway content. It is law, man. It is very
impressive. They care about their lore.
Dude, there are I was learning about just the creatures in this game. Right? Just the creatures that exist in this game. And I was looking at the elves. And there's like different kinds of elves. There's golden elves and dark elves and all this stuff. And it's just the attention to detail. But somebody was explaining that there was like this race of elves. And they were converted to something else. I forget the specifics. They were like maybe gold skinned or they were silver skinned or something like that. And I guess they kind of got maybe in bed with like the Dwemmers, which was the dwarven race, which is its own thing. But anyways, all these elves, I guess, got punished through magic. They were punished by some god or whatever for their involvement with whatever they did back in the day. So all the elves have like red eyes that you see.
Is that the underground ones that can't see? They can only hear you. Is it the Falmer?
Well, not specifically, right? Those, no, not even those guys, because that's an old, that's another version of like elves. No, like just regular like dark elves or something like that. But all dark elves have red eyes.
Oh,
but there are two dark elves. I could be getting some of the specifics wrong here, but anyways, there are 2 sisters that you can find that don't have like colored eyes or red eyes or something. They're just normal. And why would they do that? Like that's not a mistake. No, these guys purposely write all this lore and all this stuff about how like this race was punished, and then they create these 2 characters that you may never see, you may never encounter, because there are tons of these kinds of people in this game at the right time or the right place or whatever, and you might not even notice it. But if you knew this one thing, you would know that maybe this magic spell on this race is starting to wane. Does it do anything at all? No, but all this attention to detail that could be passed by. I've never even noticed it, but here we are. There's like a guy that said, "Hey, just so you know, there's 2 characters." That's
it'll come. Like, they'll plant this seed now, and then who knows what they're gonna do in like the next one or the one after that. But
that's what makes the world feel alive. And like we talk about the books, like they have lore and everything in the books, but they also have like useful books. Like I read a book on like trolls. And like they tell you like all the different weaknesses of trolls. Like trolls are weak to fire. Like you might know that through like whatever absorption of it's like common fantasy knowledge. But if you didn't know that and you read this book, you're like, oh, I can use a fire spell on a troll. And like trolls are one of the more powerful enemies in the game. One of the more powerful creatures that'll mess you up if you don't know what you're doing. And so like there's things like that, and there's like survival guides that'll tell you like what certain flowers or certain herbs will do. And like, so there's also useful books that benefit like gameplay. So they just really know what they're doing.
This game is an RPG. It is truly a role-playing game. There are games that say they're role-playing games, but this is a game where you can, like, I'm going through probably like my 10th playthrough, and I'm just being like this kind of a good, like a Robin Hood character, like a thief. I want to steal, but I want to help the poor, but I want to screw over the rich in this game. That's all I'm doing. I could care less about dragons. I could care less about troll. I'm just going around, just kind of going into villages and helping people out. I'm trying to make sure all the orphans, every town has an orphan, so I want to make sure that they have a home. So I'm trying to do quests so I can have a home, so that they, and I can just do that.
That's one of the pros I wrote down. It's just like the blank slate character that you get at the beginning. It's not like
Yep.
It's not like a just choose your skin tone and choose your hair, and you're this character that gets pushed in. It's literally like completely blank slate. You have no history, you have no past, nothing going on for that. So, I mean,
actually, Dave, before we get too far, because I want to continue on that, but Eric, do you mind maybe just summing up like what the plot is so that Dave can continue based off of that? Because there is,
there is a story, yeah.
The main, we don't beat it up, but like not, we don't need to define.
The main story is the weakest part of the game, in my opinion.
And it's not weak; it's just the weakest.
The weakest part. Yeah.
Well, it becomes anticlimactic because there's literally so much side shit to do. By the time you get to the main story, you're like,
you forget,
I've fucking done like a
main quest.
Yeah, I've done 100 of these quests already.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, just a quick synopsis. You start the game.
What is Skyrim, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. You start the game. I mean, this is like so meme to death by now. But like, you start the game. You wake up. You're on this wagon. You're talking to these characters. Going to this. You find out you're a prisoner. You did something. It goes back to the blank slate. You don't know what you did, but somehow you got captured. You're on this wagon. You're going to your execution, essentially, in Helgen. And when you get there. You're lining up, you're on the chopping block, and then a fucking dragon just appears out of the sky, out of nowhere, and attacks Helgen, destroys it. And that allows you to escape your execution, essentially. And then after that, you kind of discover that after you kill your first dragon, you can absorb these dragons' souls, essences, and basically absorb their powers. And then later you find out you're this thing called the Dragonborn. And after that, hilarity ensues, as we like to say.
It's a good summary.
All right, so sorry, Dave. I want to kind of just get that in there, and then, because, yeah, you were talking about, like, for that, clean slate.
Yeah, I mean,
possibilities are endless.
It really, because, like, you and me both pick Khajiit characters, but, like, part of the
last one's,
part of, like,
yeah, dude, I've never played one before.
It's got that.
Everyone's so racist to me.
Thing.
Oh, got my eye on you, kid.
You'll make a fine rug.
Anyone who is not a Nord in Skyrim is fucking trash.
Yeah, keep telling me they're gonna make a rug.
The Nords are the master race. Well, I'm a dark elf, and everyone's calling me dirty thief and all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't do anything. Actually, yes, I did. Speaking of role playing, like I'm sorry, Dave, I keep cutting you off, but I am actively avoiding the main quest in my current playthrough. Like, I'm role playing as not the Dragonborn. I'm just like some lone traveler. So yeah, I picked a dark elf. So I'm a thief. I also want to be a mage. I'm mastering magic, and I'm seeking out like the Dark Brotherhood and the Thieves Guild.
Yeah,
so
dude.
I really want to go down that dark
That's
path.
fun. That's what's cool. Like, you can just do that, and
like, I have nothing to do with dragons.
And
like,
still drop 100 hours.
Right. I haven't seen a dragon. I didn't do the quest where you kill your first dragon and everything. I completely, when I started the game, I went the complete opposite direction of the main quest, just, to avoid it completely. And like, it's been great. It's been great just traveling around and doing my own thing.
I mean, yeah, like like making up your own story. Everybody's telling their own story with how they play the game. Like, you just ignored that. Maybe my guy just went north, your guy went south. Everybody's got a different experience with it. But the immersion that happens when you're in the world, especially now with all the mods, me and Brandon were talking about like the 4K mods, and he told me about one where you can look in through windows and just like adding those little touches and little effects.
This is something that I experienced back in the 90s when I played PC games, where I could just change the audio files. I could change the video. Yeah, you could just change things in the game. So I'm playing on Xbox One X. So are you, Dave? But Eric's playing on
PlayStation 5. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, fancy boy.
But anyways, they have. I mean, the PC version of this game allows mods, which is modifications, which means you can add content, you can change the original game to your own liking. We'll get into mods later, but I just wanted to point out that this game, that's not a common thing. That's not, especially on console. Like,
it is not common at all on console. Yeah, like,
yeah.
I mean, they have, it's like cheat codes back in the day. You know, in GTA, you can fucking enable big head mode or infinite ammo, but like,
turn the dragon into Macho Man Randy Savage. Like, if you're not doing that, what are you doing?
The vanilla version, like the base version of this game, it lets you do anything kind of that you want, and then they let you modify the visuals, the sound, the gameplay. So it's just incredible how much customization you can have, and everybody just will definitely have their own experience.
And that's a thing too. You can tweak it to however you like it. Because I know me and Eric, are you still playing on survival mode?
Yeah, yep, I am still playing on survival mode.
Because you can make it however you like.
I did a couple tweaks.
Good. Yeah, that's exactly. So I did the ring of carry weight because the survival mode crushes your carry weight, which cuts it in half.
Anniversary mode came out recently, and it brought survival mode, which I was like, fuck no, I don't want anything to do with that.
It's like a pay for mod.
It's the things I don't like about Breath of the Wild. Yeah, you can be cold, you have to eat, you have to sleep. I'm like, I'm not sleeping Breath of the Wild, but
you can't fast travel, which is one of the things that I think I'm gonna opt out of.
That is the one thing I did opt out of. I downloaded a mod that allows you to fast travel in survival mode, which makes it so much better. Like I'm enjoying the survival mode stuff. Like, it gives,
it is
like
good.
I think I said it last, I don't know, whatever week it was where I was talking about Skyrim. It gives like some of these systems a purpose. Like, I never interacted with like food or cooking or anything like that before, but now you kind of have to keep up, your stamina and everything. And like sleeping, I never slept in beds. There was really no point of doing it, but now you have to sleep if you want to level up and like gain your health back and everything.
Yeah.
Which is tricky. That's how the old ones used to be. I think Morrowind was that way. So
yeah,
it's cool that they brought that back. The not fast traveling part I like, because you're riding your horse everywhere. It makes a horse mandatory, more or less, because there's no fucking way. I try to avoid it
in general. That's the whole point of the game is it's not the destination, but it's the
journey.
It is,
it's the ride. And like, I'm going to go there, but I might be attacked by the Dark Brotherhood, or I might
vampires.
Save some. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some merchant or a hunter might be out there being attacked by a bear.
Can I tell you the story really quick?
Go for it. Sure.
Like, these stories are what makes Skyrim so good. Like you said, I was traveling along this road and I came along this like dude who supposedly his cart had been robbed. Like, I talked to him. Like, he didn't come up to me and talk to me. I could have just passed him by, but I was like, what is this dude doing sitting on the side of the road? So I decided to talk to him. And he was like, oh, these bandits robbed my cart, blah, blah, blah. They stole this important thing from me. Will you help me? And I'm like, okay, sure. Even though full knowing, like, this is probably a trap. Like, there's no way this guy actually got attacked by bandits.
Let me cue my magic so I have fire in my left hand and electricity in my right hand, just in case.
So he's like, oh, my camp's right up this hill over here. And so I followed him to his camp or whatever. And then when I got there, he's like, yeah, he basically was like, okay, you're bad mistake. You made the wrong decision. We're going to kill you and take all your shit. And then I'm like, no, you're not. And I just blew away like 5 bandits.
I love that, like, these bandits will literally watch me take on a dragon by myself and then say, all right, warrior, like, your day has ended or something like that. And I'm like, you fucking think you're going to take me on? I just punched a dragon to death and shot fire out of my hand. And you're going to make me do this? All right? Like, you die. All of you die, by the way. And I'm going to take everything you have.
That's exactly what I did.
And I'm going to take maybe armor that you have.
I've left so many people naked. Just leave them naked everywhere. It's hilarious.
Dude, the guy that tricked me, that led me up to a camp. After I killed him, I took all of his clothes off. I fucking put his clothes in the fire, and then I threw him off a cliff.
That'll teach him when he despawns when you ride your horse away.
Exactly.
Eric, you said a word earlier that really, I think, is what defines, I'll say Bethesda games, but I'll just say Elder Scrolls games to me, which is the word systems.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, like, what was it? Elder Scrolls Daggerfall? Then I played Oblivion. I played a little bit.
I was gonna ask, what is your guys' entry point with the Elder Scrolls series? By the way,
just that's
Morrowind for me. Morrowind on original Xbox. I played a couple 100 hours of that one.
Oh wow. Okay. What about you, Eric?
Mine was actually Skyrim.
Oh, really?
But they have these systems where the game just is going to do its own thing. It's not like you're not the center of the universe, really, compared to other games. So when you play Mass Effect, that game does not give a fuck. Like it just is going to do whatever you do. It's going to like Assassin's Creed, like these games kind of more or less story like kind of needs you. But with Elder Scrolls games, I feel like there's just a world of systems. Like if I kill that person, then they won't be replaced. Mm-hmm. Nobody's gonna like tend to the field, or nobody's gonna run that shop. I think, right? Like that's how these games work. Like if you take a character out,
every town person has like their own that like they get up and they go to the market at this time. Yeah, like the world is alive, which is one of the things that I have in my make it better category. Where like for the next ones, like there's a lot you can add to that. Like.
Oh yeah.
As far as
but I mean, like, well, go ahead.
I mean, no, it is. I mean, it is fantastic for the immersion in this world, but that's one thing that you can get deeper into, and as the engine evolves, you can make things look smoother and make things look. Because it's, I mean, let's be honest, Skyrim's not perfect. Like,
get more than 5 voice actors.
Yeah, like, or when you
actually. It has 70 voice actors. I looked 70? It up.
That is shocking.
All doing the same accent, but
it's what the problem. No, I noticed. I was paying attention to that because when I learned that, I was like, why does it sound? You know what it is? It's because they didn't take like 10 people to do the voices of the guards. So they had like, okay, Steve, you're the guard. So everybody just sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like every time I like go into a city, like, did somebody steal your sweet roll? It's just like, what?
Dude, so it was harassing me about that.
You wear the armor of a brigand. Best not cause any trouble on my watch.
Hold, traveler. I saw you take that gold or whatever.
Yeah,
time to go to jail.
Yeah, it's exactly like, all right, Schwarzenegger. Everybody just sounds. It's the same guy that played all the guards, I guess, which is really annoying. What do you? You know the dragons? Do I heard about you? You are the Dragonborn. It's just like
over and over. Everybody knows.
Is your armor made of dragon bones? By the gods, what I wouldn't do for a set of that.
Yeah, I know the take an arrow in the knee kind of fucking line is everywhere, but I noticed that. But I know I like the systems in this game. You will watch I will watch animals go to certain areas. Like there are fish now, right? And there are fish that just hide if there's a waterfall. There's only like the certain fish that hang out where the waterfalls are, like the giants will tend to the woolly mammoths and they will go and like kind of feed them and, capture them or whatever. Like they're protective. Like you can't interrupt that. If you do, they will react to it. Even in Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls 4, there were goblins in that game underground. And there were 2 clans of goblins, and each clan leader had their own totem. So you could technically take the totem from one and put it in the other cave, and then take the other ones and put it in the other guy's cave, and then they would send out goblins to go get it back. So you could make a civil war, and that was like Oblivion. Now we're talking about Skyrim, but I'm just like, that's what I love about these systems. It's just
that's where like a lot of I think environment. There's environmental storytelling, and then there's like the systems colliding kind of storytelling where like, oh, this dragon's attacking me. I'm gonna kite him over to the bandit camp and get some help killing this dragon. Or, I mean, the weather doesn't really get too involved, but everybody in town where. I want to talk to this person, so I'm going to walk into their house, wake them up out of their bed because I know they're going to be there because it's 2:00 in the morning. Wake them up and talk to them. So I don't know. I think that's where a lot of the stuff comes together and makes the sweet roll so delicious. But
Dave, you said that this game isn't perfect, but what did you mean by it's not perfect? I mean, perfect is so subjective, but I mean, like, because it's 10 years old?
I mean, there's some stuff that would like improved. Like the
I want to
animation,
cover that.
The animation systems can get wonky sometimes. Like we've all seen people walk into walls, and like when you wait in like a busy place, sometimes like everybody will bunch up and be like at a door and like walk out a door at the same time, and there'll be like 15 people standing there because you just waited and they were where they were waiting, but now they're going to go continue their routine.
Same happens when you fast travel to a town. Everybody just starts popping out of their building sometimes. It's like I call it the Westworld effect. Where you can just fucking tell that these people are fucking like robots in this like fake world, and they're just like following their script.
I know there's so many. I know this would probably be a lot. There's so many indoor spaces in these games, but I'm hoping with like whatever the power of next gen and stuff, like we don't get loading screens every time we go into a door. I want it to just be like a seamless transition from the outside to the inside of every building.
I will give you that,
sweet mod. There's a super sweet mod called Open Cities, and it turns like you just open up the door to a city and just walk into it, and it's such a tiny thing, but it is like there's no no loading screen. It kind of feels like magic when it does that.
Even with caves, or that's just above
I think it's
ground,
just
like
cities.
castles and
because cities have actual doors on them. Those when you go into a cave,
gates.
it's loading like another. It's loading another level basically. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they can I know they can do that with like SSD and stuff. Like even if they, have to load in another area, like that transition from the doorway to the next area, hopefully is a little bit more seamless. But obviously Bethesda games can get bogged down a little bit.
They've been working
times.
on this game for so long. I mean, I would have to assume some of those quality of life things are going to be in there. I mean, this is not like
even with
Oblivion to Skyrim, which was 4 or 5 years. This is like past a decade.
Even with my experience with the next gen version playing on PS5, the loading screens are still there, but they're like less than a second between going outside and inside.
That's
so
nice.
They can do it.
They're 2 to 3 seconds on my Xbox One X.
It's much more manageable on the One X than it was on like the 360 or whatever.
Yes.
Well, actually, all right, so we're picking on a little bit about like, I don't know. It's a dated game, right? And Dave and I were both playing, it's a single player game, but we were on party chat and we were talking about just the game. And I was saying how it's I don't know. It's like borderline genius, I guess, but the world is so rich and dense, and there's just so much to look at and do, and all these things kind of working, and everything's just so unique and customizable, and you can make it your own. But it was all designed at knowing that the limitations of the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were there, not PC. They weren't even thinking about like, in 8 years when the next gen comes out, we can do this. Like, they still had to make a game that looked great and set a standard and was able to get like Game of the Year awards and stuff back then in 2011. So what I like is how they handle draw distance. So if you go back and play 3D games in the PS2, 360, even PS1 kind of era, draw distance is rough on hardware, and it's really hard to pull up content from afar. And you can still see it in Skyrim today.
That's why PlayStation 1 games were so foggy.
And
right.
N64, you got the fog in the distance.
But what I'm saying, though, is that the Skyrim is very mountainous, right? And very rocky, very hilly. And when you're playing it, you're like, oh, it's just like beautiful. There's just so many battling brooks and nooks and crooks and all that stuff. It's just so much character to every area that truly feels like it's been handcrafted over the time that they made the game. But it also is a clever way of kind of covering up the draw distance issue, so you can draw less. And I just think that's really the art and the technology together created Skyrim. And that's why today it still looks good, because even though they couldn't really render everything out with this engine, the way they designed the world it's just very interesting to look at, and it's based on some limitations, and I think that's incredible. Just like Star Wars kind of figures out there are things like Jaws, right? Where they couldn't get the shark to look right, so they just said, "Fuck it, first person view as much as we can." So we'll just have the perspective of the shark, and that's what made it.
That's
you know,
pretty
so
cool.
that's how I see Skyrim. It's just like the limitations kind of make it almost better.
Like, yeah, and that's one thing we were talking about. Because I went back and played like Fallout New Vegas on the 360, and new hardware.
Never played it.
It's rough to go back and look at sometimes because it's a lot of open, like Mojave Desert kind of stuff, and
there's not many open areas
just,
in Skyrim.
It's just like flat brown plains everywhere with like dead trees here and there, and like this is the complete opposite of that. And they kind of build that into a lot of where they place their caves and they place their little, like, because there's like a main road, and then there'll be like all these little arteries coming off of that main vein where like you go down this little valley and there's a thing back there, you go down this little valley, and that keeps you from like just like running in a straight direction to a place. Like you have to actually kind of follow roads because there's no way you can cross a lot of the hills. But it's also they tuck everything in, which is kind of crazy. But like
that's just on the top. I mean, in the world of Skyrim, there's like these big, I said it's mountainous. There are like mountains in the middle of the big ass circular roundish kind of map. And it's crazy. What is it called? Blackreach or something like that? But it's not even part of the fucking main story. It's not even like, there's not even like a side quest really that says go explore this area. But you can find yourself inside this massive cave in a mountain. And I say massive, it's fucking so massive. There's a fucking dwarven city in there. There are like there's like a dragon tucked away in a big ball like thing hanging up in the ceiling or the top of the cavern area. And it's just there. It's just underneath across all the, dwarven underground cities and caves and ruins and stuff like that. It is so condensed with content. It's incredible.
It's all, like you said, handcrafted, and like it's the part. I mean, some people say like, it's boring. You just go into each cave. You just go into caves and you're just going to do stuff. And like I've heard that, and that sounds silly to me because the environmental storytelling, because like every location has a story behind it, where you're going to find a book or you're going to find something going on in the environment. Yeah, that's everywhere. Like that's what makes it so immersive, and like you lose hours in this game just because of that. Like,
yeah, there's always something to pull you through. Like you said, you'll find like a book on in like a campsite or something, and then that'll pop up like a marker on your map, like, oh, go explore this place. Like there's a rumor that there's a bandit camp over here, or like it's just stuff like that pulls you along through the world and makes you want to explore it. And like, even without getting all those quests, like just exploring the world, you'll find stuff. Like you'll find stuff tucked away in like caves or whatever. And like, I don't know, they're the design, like you were saying, it's handcrafted. They're so smart what they're doing with the design, and the quest design is just fantastic. Like, I don't know, I can't say enough good things about it.
There's one thing.
The balance is there.
One thing I thought of with like this new release. I mean, it's been 10 years, so we're still playing the same game, for that long. It was an old wise person once said that you can make a great game prettier, but you can't make a game that's just pretty great. Like, if a game is good, it's good no matter how good it looks, and it's obviously gotten better looking. But you can have a pretty game that's not a fun game, and you can't make it great because that's just that's the game to it. So
take Cyberpunk as an example. A recent example.
It's all right.
I never played it.
I don't mind Cyberpunk. It's an open world. Once you got rid of the bugs, it's not.
Nintendo will always age well, I feel, especially with their main,
but those are great games.
IPs. They're great games, and
like this,
and they age well. They just
like if this wasn't like fine. You don't see anniversary editions for I don't know. I'm trying to think of a shitty old game, but
well, let's talk about how many times this fucking game has been re-released. I think I've bought it. Okay, let me see. I originally bought it on PlayStation 3, which I still have my original copy upstairs in my office of my PlayStation.
I bought it 3 times. I guess if you include this update. Yeah.
They were PS4, PS5, PC, and I bought the VR version as well. So that's
VR's got to be fun. Why aren't you playing in there?
I haven't dug a lot into it.
PSVR?
That's on PSVR. Yep.
Oh.
I've only played a little bit of it. I want to dig a little bit more into it, but like,
can you play with mods in VR? Is it just taking the same stream from your?
So it's a different game. It's a different SKU completely. Like there's a Skyrim VR game. It's not like there's a VR mode in like the Skyrim version. So they had to complete. Well, it's the same game, but like they had to re-release it as a separate release. Like you can't go with your same save from like your whatever Xbox version to the VR version or whatever. So.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
but you're still Dragonborn.
They had to do
all that shit.
All that stuff, yeah. They had to do some major modifications to make it work in VR. And the controls are okay. I just feel like I have to get a little bit more into it. I
wonder if you could put mods on that. If you could do like a lot of the upscaling mods or weather mods, that would be cool. I
would have to look, but the only thing is on PlayStation VR, it doesn't look great. I'm sure it's better on PC. That is one of the things I couldn't really get past. Like the resolution just isn't super great. So it gives you a little bit of a headache looking at it, but I don't know. I might dig into it a little more if I get around to it.
One of the things that I definitely wanted to cover, I'm surprised we haven't done this yet, but it's the fucking music.
Oh yeah,
Skyrim music. I mean, Oblivion had incredible music. I didn't play enough of Morrowind to appreciate it, and I don't remember Daggerfall, but the music is just so good. I will listen to this in my car with my family in there. I'll just have it, just so relaxing. I will play it in the background. I'm a designer. You know what we like to do when we design? Listen to podcasts, listen to music, and I love Skyrim and Oblivion music. I'll put like a mix of the two, and
I had that
lose myself.
10th anniversary concert that they did for Skyrim on in the background when I was working one day, and it was just fantastic. Like, and like when you just, one of my favorite moments is when you're just traveling around at night, and like the music kicks in, like like I don't know, just the twinkling in the background and everything. And then it'll fade away and you'll get silence, and then you'll get like the ambient noise of like the creatures at night, like the bugs and everything. And then it'll fade back. Like they do some great things like dynamically with the music.
At night, you walk into an inn and there's a crackling of the fire, and then there's like the sound of people in there, and there's probably some person like playing music on like a fiddle, or not a fiddle, but like some kind of instrument in there, and
a lute.
It's just like I am in Game of Thrones / Lord of the Rings.
It is so good. I actually tried turning it off for a little while because I got sick of every time you start combat, it starts the same song. Which
the combat, the combat music, annoying, they changed it up a little bit.
I turned the sound off,
but that's
for a while,
signal, so you know that you're being attacked.
Sound off, headphones on, and just like I think that it cranks up the immersion even better because. You know, you hear your footsteps. You don't have to hear after hundreds of hours of listening to those songs, I took a small break. But the composer is the same one that did both games too, Oblivion and Skyrim.
Okay, that makes sense because they're both fantastic. So okay, well,
Jeremy Soule. Jeremy Soule.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had one like nitpicky thing about the music, I just wish there was more variety, like. Because you do hear the same tracks over and over again. I mean,
they're good.
Obviously,
yeah.
if you're playing hundreds of hours, you're going to hear the same ones.
Final Fantasy VII, and then what are you going to hear when
that is true.
You know, I mean, it's some of these series just have their tunes, I guess.
Which is why I do like that it's dynamic. So like you don't have music playing all the time. It's only at certain moments, or like it'll come in, like you're saying, during combat or whatever, and then fade away. But yeah, music is fantastic. It just adds to the atmosphere. I do want to try turning it off and just walking around without it for a little bit, just to see what that's like, because I can imagine that does elevate the immersion a little bit.
For immersion, because of mods, do you guys know offhand some of the mods that you're using that you would like to share, Just
sure.
I mean, there's like a billion of them out there at this point, but yeah, if there's some that you would recommend, like, well, go for it. I'd like to hear some.
Number one for me is I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's like more like kill cam death animations. I don't know. You know how sometimes you'll get like a kill cam when you kill someone like with an arrow, or you'll get a decapitation, like the camera shifts out of the perspective. You'll get that side view of the kill, and I don't know. I think it just makes it so much more satisfying. But this mod, I think decapitations are a perk that you have to unlock eventually through one of the trees. I think with like one-handed weapons, you unlock decapitation perk. But this one unlocks it like from the beginning. It ups the chance for the kill cam by like 50% or whatever. It adds new like death animations. Like it sounds morbid as I'm explaining it, but it just makes the kills so much more satisfying when you get that like kill cam when you kill like the last bandit in a camp or something.
I gotta get that one.
It's so good. And the one that pairs well with that is it's a simple one just to get rid of that like stupid death spin animation.
Yep.
You know that
the
one?
ragdoll. It just tumbles to the ground in whatever direction you hit me.
Yep, I like that one. So that's one of my favorite ones. I'm also cheating a little bit. I installed a faster leveling mod, which is nice just because
not a bad idea.
What?
I'm doing. I mean, I don't know if I don't know how long I'm gonna play Skyrim. I'm not burnt out on it yet or anything. I'm gonna keep going.
Well, it's a game that you're always having your rotation. It's just one of those games. Like, yeah.
So through this playthrough, I just wanted to get to like the good perks a little faster. So I did the faster leveling one, which is nice.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. I since I'm doing magic, making like a dark elf mage, I installed this mod that adds like 100 different new spells to the game, which has been great. But yeah, those are some of my big ones. And then a bunch of the graphical mods just to make it look really good.
The one graphic one Brandon told me about was Skyland all-in-one, which does...
Did you get it?
Texture, yeah. So yeah, that one looks real nice, Clark.
I keep walking around. I'm like, I mean, Skyrim looked good, but with this mod,
it's 4K textures, upgrades for everything. So like, it's architecture.
It's a package of a lot of things. Yeah,
I don't know if I got that specific one, but I got like a bunch of ones to improve the lighting, improve the water, improve the weather. Some of the weather mods I installed are just great.
Yeah,
and like
some of them are fantastical and some of them are realistic. It's like, what is your style? Like, that's what's cool about Skyrim is like you can make it not only by the gameplay, but the modifications. You can make it visually, gameplay wise, how it behaves. So yeah, that's cool.
Most of the mods I installed were things to like enhance the original experience and not like make it something completely different.
Yeah,
because like you can get the mods where you like. Like Dave said, you can make a dragon's fucking Macho Man or Thomas the Tank Engine or get lightsabers and shit. But I'm just kind of making it enhancing the original experience.
There's a fine line of like enhancement versus like this is a different game, like stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
What's some of the ones I use? I'm looking at it right now. There is Lampposts of Skyrim, which adds lampposts to the roads, which was cool.
I should get that one. That
was good because I like the attention to detail on that one. They, based on the region of the map, the lanterns and the light posts and stuff like that, or lantern posts, I guess I should say, they resemble the area, so they're not just like one style throughout all. It's different, which I thought it was like, and they sway in the wind, and I don't know, it's a really nice touch.
What's some of the other ones I use? Diverse dragons, which adds, like swamp dragons or ice dragons and, lightning dragons. So sometimes they're more of a pain in the ass, but I think that's, switching it up a little bit. There's always a different kind of dragon. It's like immersive citizens and stuff like that. Added some frost giants. There's ones that fix up the magic college that make it feel a little bit more filled in because it's kind of barren. In
I saw that one. Yeah,
one.
I've done that quest enough to not care about that one anymore. But
I have a similar one where it makes some of the cities a bit more fleshed out and redesigns the city. I think it's just called Better Cities or something.
Yeah,
that's just a good one. But yeah, I like the ones that add like the little touches, like the lampposts, like you were talking about. Like some of those are my favorite ones, like because they're just so smart, like, and they fit in with the vanilla experience so well.
Yeah, you're basically trying to be like George Lucas, where like you're taking the original trilogy, but you're like you got to be very careful. Like, all right, well, maybe there should be like mostly creatures in the background. You're like, all right, I guess, but like, fucking, why are you adding characters dancing around and singing in Jabba's palace like it's a kids show? People are being tortured here, man.
That's all. Yeah, that's all a difference of how much you want to tweak. Because you I think you did the mod with like 150 something spells, and I think I did that one before. I don't know if it was too much for me, but then I just did the one this time where it just adds the other elements of magic. So in vanilla Skyrim, you have lightning, fire, ice, and this adds wind, water, earth. So it kind of cool, it builds it in, and they all have like it's built into like the same like pluses and minuses when you're shooting people, like stamina regen and all that kind of stuff. So I think that was about it for me. There's always tons of cool stuff to.
I'm a nerd. I actually wrote out the ones I got. So specifically, Skyland, all in one. I also got not see-through windows, see-true windows. Without the E in true. That one is just, I think it's like a little touch where you ever go to a building and you can't see through the glass? Like, why can't I see in here? So it just lets me see inside buildings. And I just drove me crazy, and I thought that was like a good one. So I added that.
Does that translate to every like building model, or is that just like a flat texture or something that's kind of copied and pasted on all the windows?
It seems like it's the same glass texture applied to the ones that are using it, but the artist or the author of this mod did not apply it to the more northern snowy regions because that makes sense. Like it did be frosted over and you wouldn't be able to see inside. So the more temperate,
like lazy to me.
No, I think that's I mean, who knows? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, if you go to the colder areas, you can't see inside. They're all frozen over. I also got, whatever. Everybody gets the unofficial Skyrim patch, but I added RS Children Optimized. All that does, there's kids in this version. In this Elder Scrolls game, they added kids, except the kids are kind of ugly and boring looking. So RS
Brandon
Children
wants beautiful kids.
Well, they just are all different looking at least.
Brandon and his child actors. He doesn't like shitty child actors, even in his video games.
I don't. Oh my god, you can't kill kids in this game, so don't worry about it. The beauty of Skyrim, EN's probably stands for English. All that did is like it kind of took the character models and just added more variety, so everybody kind of looked different. So I don't know. I'm enjoying that one. I did a good job with that one. I added the Lanterns of Skyrim 2K. I also got a quality world map. All that does is nice. When you look at the map, it's a pretty good map. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know if you know this, but the Skyrim map that you see, but even in the vanilla basic version, it's really just a really, really far camera looking down at the map. That is the game.
Yep.
I didn't know that until like more recently, but I was like, no shit. And if you cause a fire or if you destroy something, that is all represented on that map. But anyways, there's a lot of detail missing. So this is one of my go-to mods. It just adds a little bit more quality to the map.
One thing I wish you could do with the map is zoom in a little farther.
Well, they want you to hit the X button so that you can see the mini map and to kind of see the fog of war, the black area where you haven't been. And I don't know. I'm with you though. Like a little closer.
Just a little more.
Like in Far Cry, I like how I can get a little closer to that map and like I can kind of see some rows and pathways, stuff like that. I'm with you on that. And then the last thing, I got a follower because I like that this game has a base follower companion that you can have. You can have a pet. You can have like side quest companions. So if you do the vampire shit, I was telling Dave, the main woman character, she will follow you anywhere you want. As long as you don't complete her quest, you can just start it. You can have her follow you, and then you can download a modded follower. You can have like 3-4 people, depending on what you do, follow you. So you can have your own fellowship. You can literally have your Fellowship of the Ring. And what I like to do, when I do this, like right now I have 2. I downloaded Lucian,
You sing the song while you run across the fields with all your compatriots?
I just walk in an area like a boss, and I just fucking stand there, and I let my minions go and slaughter everybody. And I get like a sword guy, I get a magic user, I get an archer, one of them's a vampire. I just let them go at it. And that's how I like to play.
See, I was
never been
evil
one.
guy, like monsters.
I've never been one for followers. I'm always a lone wolf.
No,
It's a
I just feel like that's
solitary
wasteful.
experience
Like
for me.
you're losing out on experience from swinging your sword and hacking those people
Who
up.
cares? I don't play this game.
You could
what
go up.
am I gonna do? I've already
You
beat
could go
the
up to
campaign.
one more in your one-handed skill. I'm always a conjurer. I always have some sort of.
That's true.
Some sort of. You need a sidekick of some
Atronach
sort
or whatever.
Because I've gotten to some parts where I just get the shit kicked out of me, and I came back later and I got the shit kicked out of me again. I was like, all right, well.
It gets scary in some of these Dwemer areas, the dwarf places.
Yeah, I was in one last night or the other night.
It's
a little creepy down there, especially
that's why I bring a posse.
with the like the fucking centurions, like those big ass motherfuckers that'll mess you up.
You never know how strong those things are too. Sometimes they're like kind of you can beat them more or less quickly, and other times it's like, why won't you die, man? Like, I don't know. It's maybe a critical hit happening in there, but yeah, those things. If you wake those things, those giant robotic Iron Man dwarven things, like, oh
well,
God.
the other night I cheesed it so bad, like I was just hiding behind this pillar and just shooting arrows at him. Like I would shoot one and I'd get the 2 times bonus for a sneak attack, and then I would hide and wait for me to go back into like stealth mode. Do it again, and I did that like 10 times until he was dead. So that's the way to do it.
Sometimes you gotta cheese it a little bit. All right, I have a question for you guys. You got something?
No, go ahead.
For the next Elder Scrolls game, what would you like to see changed, updated? Because
co-op.
Co-op, really?
I wanted it in 4. I wanted it in Oblivion. They tried really hard to get it, and they couldn't get it to work.
I want co-op.
Then they didn't do it in 5.
Like I'm still
Look what happened with Fallout. Look what happened with Fallout
Yeah.
when they just jammed co-op in there.
That was fucking not co-op. That was like online, massive multiplayer. Try to like water down Destiny bullshit. No, I want like one other person.
Just one.
Like
just
a
play this game
Far
with me.
Cry style game. Like you get
I want you
drop in, drop out co-op.
Yeah, I want you to at least have some version of your guy, and just I want dude. Come on, don't you think it'd be really cool to just storm like anything?
The 3 of us.
You're like the melee
awesome.
guy, and then the other person's like an archer, and the other guy is like magic. That's it. Like that's it. I mean, Elder Scrolls on a very
like up to 4-player co-op.
Yes, that's it.
The only thing with that is that it might get into like a weird thing where it wouldn't be able to have shared loot, or they would have to have some instanced like loot that can be shared between everybody. Because like obviously
Destiny does that.
Can I play my character?
I'm sure they
could
do it,
loot.
but
a lot of so the gaming industry has literally changed so much since Skyrim came out. I mean, we have Game Pass, we have games as a service, we have Game Pass, we have all this shit. So I mean, just think about what I don't think they're gonna do it. I just think that's how they roll. I think they don't do that, but
there's so much weird, crazy playtesting that you'd have to do.
I said it before, but yeah, I would really like it if there was not loading screens between like indoor outdoor areas. Like just make it one seamless experience. I would love that so much. Like it does break the immersion when you fucking enter a cave and you have to load up for like 5 seconds, and then or like you're being chased. Well, one instance where the loading screen is good between the caves, I ran into a troll in a cave and I was cheesing it by just attacking him a little bit, going back out of the cave, going back in.
You're doing a lot of cheesing over there.
Well, listen, I'm going into higher level areas when I'm a lower level. I gotta cheese it a little.
I'm playing that. My latest playthrough is also like on like the default settings. Like I didn't put it to easy. I just left it at normal. So like I get it. Like yeah,
is there? Man, I've never even looked. Is there difficulty settings? I just always play.
Oh yeah,
definitely. This game is great because you can change it anytime you want. And it does not
love games that do this. I love it so much. Like
it's a hard section.
You can change it on the fly. Like games
that these vampires are really tough. Let me just lower it real quick.
Games that gate it off where it's like, okay, pick your difficulty at the beginning. You won't be able to change this later. Are you sure you want to play on this difficulty? I hate that shit. Like just let us change it whenever we want to. It's the same with survival mode with this. You can just toggle it on and off whenever you want to. If you're tired of it, you can just turn it off, and it doesn't affect anything in your game.
Dave, what do you want to see? Destructible environments?
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be awesome. More elemental stuff, like I was just thinking like Breath of the Wild type stuff, or like if you can like cast a fucking fire spell on some grass.
I know. Last night I literally stood in a puddle of water, like a big kind of, well, not a pond, but it was like a big body of water enough, and I had my electric shock power, and I'm like, I'm gonna electrocute this guy fighting.
Stuff like that. Yeah,
and it didn't do anything, and I'm like, ah. But yeah,
the only thing they really have like that is like those oil puddles in the ground where you can set them on fire. If,
about it.
Enemies walk through them, but more stuff like that, like more systems heavy, like elemental stuff would be awesome.
I guess that's another layer on top of the world system. I guess some of the building stuff that they built into Fallout 4, Fallout 76 have both come out since Skyrim, obviously, but those had a lot of cool like town building mechanics and world building mechanics where it's literally like Fallout 4 gets into like a Sim City kind of, you're setting up trade routes between your cities and stuff like that. 76 added a lot of just like base building stuff to it, which would be super cool to see. Because they do have like the farming. I went and did like the farming thing they added through Creation Club, and it's just another kind of just house where like it's got cobwebs and shit all over the place, and it's kind of gross. I don't want to live in that fucking
I was a little disappointed with the fishing too that they added.
Yeah,
like I thought you could whip out your fishing pole and fish anywhere, but it's these designated fishing spots.
Yeah,
where, like,
stupid.
And it's like a weird mini game. I don't know. I was
some of the Creation Club stuff is a little quick too. Like I did a couple. I got like this sword that changes from ice to fire whether it's day or night, which was kind of cool. But that quest wasn't like terribly long, or I mean, I got through it in like a half hour. But the other thing, like they pause you a lot in this game, where like you're stuck in one place, just talking to somebody or watching people talk at certain points or before you get into conversations. But add some more camera movement, add some fucking cutscenes to your game.
Dude, do the Red Dead 2 thing where you're just dynamically talking to someone and you're walking with them. And
I am so
that
glad
would be
you brought up Red Dead
cool.
Redemption 2. I was walking around Skyrim thinking like, this reminds me of Red Dead Redemption. Like, Red Dead Redemption must have played Skyrim so much that they're like, we need to do this because you can do the same thing in that game. Fuck the story and just walk around and just see like, you can meet cannibals. You can meet cult leaders.
The only difference there,
you can stop.
The only difference there is you need those dialogue options, so they need to have some way to pause it so you can choose a dialogue option.
Or I mean, like,
but,
first time,
definitely more dynamic.
First time you walk into a town, like maybe give like a panning sweep as your guys. You're just standing there anyways. But I mean, part of the thing is like they do a lot of good framing in this game. So like when you walk into a town, like the first thing you see when the screen stops loading is like it looks like, like a painting almost. Like it's some of it is super nice where it looks, you can tell like what the concept art would have looked like. But even if you're having conversations, like they've done things in Fallout 4 and 76 again, where like it'll go third person during a conversation and the camera will go from like one character to the next, or like you could be talking to two people at the same time and your character in the third person,
I feel like a mod could handle that.
You could see him look between people and like talk to this person, then look back and talk to this person. Just I don't know, flesh out, make it more. I don't keep saying immersive all the time, but a little more dynamic. The conversations instead of just like locking in on somebody's face.
Cinematic, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or I'm looking at this.
Well, Dave, did you like
sprawled out in his chair and he doesn't? He's
got I know.
Same
Jarls
position.
always act like a thug. They always just sit there. Just kind
he's got his cup of fucking meat or whatever it is up in one hand.
Like I'm sorry. Did you just drop a new album? Like why are you sitting like that? Dave, did you like my idea where like the way they should approach DLC moving forward is just let like major celebrities like offer their voice and just like read the script.
I mean,
like,
that'd be interesting.
Like just you can just download, I don't know, like whoever to be the voice of like a Jarl. You know,
oh,
Jack
bring
Black.
Patrick Stewart back.
Like, yeah,
Patrick
you could
Stewart,
put
sure, whatever.
You'd have to do
Jim
Creation
Carrey.
Club, and then take a split of the Creation Club with Patrick Stewart, and then be like, all right, now the fucking guards are saying, Patrick Stewart's saying, I took an arrow to the knee. You know, just it's what it is. It's as big as like swapping out some MP3s in the file structure somewhere.
Yeah,
like that's all you're doing, really. So
Mm-hmm.
I do love that. I hope they fix the animations too. We'll see a lot more in Starfield.
Yeah, the
because
animations need to be.
I'm assuming
That's the only thing that that didn't age well. Of all the things, the animations are watching. So I was storming these fucking like bandits, and I go in the back room, kill everybody, and the war chief is in the back room in his bed, and he gets up, and I just see his silhouette across the wall. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Me and my companions were all crouching, and we're like, all right, we're gonna attack this guy, and then like I realized he went back to bed. So I walk in there, and I'm attacking him, and the animation of him
getting
up, he just died the whole. I just hacked him down the whole time because it was just like a fucking Westworld moment where like the robot just does not know how to react. Because in real life, you'd be like, oh my god, you'd be grabbing the thing and you'd be like trying to stop.
He's got to complete his animation first of getting.
Yeah, regardless of being killed during the time. And I thought, like,
well, you mentioned that another thing, like obviously this was probably another limitation of the hardware, but if you do the quest line where you choose either the Imperials or the Stormcloaks, it all culminates to this big civil war at the end, and really all it is like 10 people on each side of the quote unquote war.
Scale. Yeah, I'd like to see, that's a good point. I'd like to see scale, like not a city, not Solitude or whatever being like the biggest city, and it's like 50 buildings. I want to.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know
like
how you
200 people in that.
I don't know how
up in that city.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see people walking around. That
I mean, The Witcher did this, right?
More populated.
Remember The Witcher? I mean, The Witcher handled cities pretty well. I mean, I'd like to just see that.
But
that
they don't have like the time of day system where like every person has a house, or every person has. I don't think they do. I don't know. But you gotta come up with houses for all these people. Like it's a lot of work. But I fully agree.
And we're talking about next gen.
Fix the internal map or the interior map. Like nobody wants this black and white outline bullshit. Like
I've always hated that. I never use it
because it overlaps. Because you're going up and down, and it's just like a 2D top down architect.
That's a good point.
Thing of the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's.
I never
could
use
use
it.
some help. You can't.
I do use it, but yeah, I'm with you. I do use it.
So, but I mean, these are all little small nitpicky things that we're throwing out here. I'm sure there's probably mods for all of these things. The one thing I don't know, I haven't searched for it yet, but reorganize your UI for going through your inventory, please. Allow me.
Yeah, they have one for that.
Allow me to sort things by arms or legs and all that kind of stuff. Like
they have tons.
They do have a good menu mod that I've used before.
76 has that problem. It's a very bad problem.
Go to YouTube and just type Skyrim Anniversary mod, and you'll just see people sharing their setup. That's where I got the ones that I was like, they will walk you through it and show you side by side. Here's vanilla. Here's what it did. This is compatible with this.
Idea.
That's what I did, and I just picked the ones that okay, this one keeps getting brought up. People really seem to like this, so that's what I did. I mean, I'm hopeful for the next one.
I mean, it's got a lot there's gonna be a lot of hype behind that one, but
it's not coming for a little bit anyways. But yeah, new engine. It's gonna be Starfield, like you said, is gonna be the benchmark that we'll see for their new engine. So I'm looking forward to that. One thing we haven't brought up, do you guys have a favorite side quest and or quest line? Like
I can go real quick.
Companion, whatever.
It's not really
or a one-off side quest.
There's a lot of awesome side quests. But there's one thing that I don't know, I always get a chuckle. And it's not, I don't know, it's really small, it's really subtle. It's like in the southern-ish, it's not too far from Whiterun maybe. But there's a cave of bandits, and you kill like the two bandits that are on the outside of the cave, and when you go in their cave, their hideout, There's a fucking old blind guy that sits at a desk.
I just did that one. The other day.
Every time I play a run through, I always have to do this one, and it's up to you if you want to kill the guy. He's just like, "Hey, who's this?" It's just like,
Rodolphe, that you?
Death, I'm here to kill you. Or you're like, "Hey, it's."
Well, he asks,
hey,
yeah.
Oh, I'm here. Like, all right, well, you better get here. The boss is mad. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And you just walk in there, and there's like 6 people. This is the one where I actually killed the guy that was like sleeping in the bed, and I was just like, I can't never bring myself to kill this guy. What's funny, he has a quill and a piece of paper in front of him. You can go to it, and it's blank.
Yeah, you read his book, and there's nothing in it. It's amazing.
It's a book. That's what it is.
That is so good.
There's no reason for any of this. They just have this opening little... It's not a quest, but I get a chuckle every time. I fucking love it. It gets me every time, and I never can kill that guy. So that's it for me. But yeah, what about you guys? What do you get?
Favorite one? I don't know. I can't pick one off the top of my head. They all kind of jumbled together. There's a good one where you get really drunk one night and you wake up in another town somewhere.
I just did that one too.
I don't think you have your stuff with you when you wake up, but I do. That one does. The
one I did was like I got into a drinking contest with some guy at a tavern in Riften, yeah. And you end up like all the way in fucking, what is it, Markarth or whatever, which is like on the other side of the fucking map.
Markarth is full of awesome side quests.
And I'm like, how the fuck did I get... Yeah, you just wake up after this crazy night of drinking, and you wake up in like this temple, and they're like, oh, you wrecked this place, blah, 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 you better help clean this shit up. And if your speech is high enough, you can just persuade them, be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I've never done that one.
My favorite one, did you guys do the Wabajack side quest?
Yeah, I've done that in previous.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite one, where you just fucking... I forgot exactly. You meet this like homeless guy on the street, and he says like his master or whatever, some dude his friend is on vacation. You have to go into this palace, and then you get transported into this guy's mind, and you have to help him through all of these like emotional phases and stuff.
So
and at the end,
it's like the god of madness or something like that.
Yep. At the end, you get this staff called the Wabajack, which is an insane thing that basically I feel like the developers just were messing around one day and were like, hey, we can cast a spell that actually does a random. Is there a story behind this?
It's in Oblivion.
Okay.
And I was pumped when it came back in 5 because I loved it in 4. It's harder to acquire in 4 from my memory. I mean, we're going back years, but I remember getting that weapon and I'm like, it can just shoot like a vampire and they become a goat. Yep. It just randomly recreates you into something else. Yeah, that one's really good.
I think the developers just had fun one day and was like, what if we had a staff that just fucking did a dice roll and, I don't know, it could shoot out a fireball or it could turn this person into a piece of gold or something.
Yeah. I know. I'm trying to think where that one is because one of the ones I really liked is where you find the dog that talks. And you're like, what? Oh. And the dog you follow this dog that talks. Again, you can just do your own thing and this dog will follow you, I'm pretty sure. So you could just have all these like random companions if you want to make your own Fellowship of the Ring. But you follow this dog to look at a cave and you do that whole quest and there's this whole like god. Our guy became a god or something like that. And like that was his pet or the pet is a god. And it's silly. It's a fun one. That one I like too.
You are exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, Skyrim is now host to giant flying lizards and two-legged catmen. And you're surprised by me? Yeah, I just talked, and I'm continuing to do so. You see, my name is Barbas, and I have a problem I think you can help sort out. My master and I had a bit of a falling out. We got into an argument and it got rather heated. He's kicked me out until I find someone who can settle our disagreement. That's where you come in.
There's a one that I'm currently doing where I forgot what it was. This guy met one of the Daedric gods, I forgot which one it was, and he cursed the god of the hunt or something, and he cursed him with this ring that he can't take off or that just randomly transforms him into a werewolf.
I just started that one. I was talking to Dave because I walked into Falkreath or whatever it is, Falkreath
yes,
or whatever.
Falkreath, yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna go on my own volition. I'm gonna go to where the guards hang out and just hang out and just see what they're up to in there. And I don't know. And then I like, oh, there's a prison in here. Okay, I'm gonna go down to the jail cell kind of area. And I go down there and I'm like, whoa, there's like a circular room cell where the light is coming from above, like just an open roof maybe, and then there's a puddle of water, and there's like a dude, shirtless dude, just standing in like a foot of water, just standing. And I'm like, what kind of, like, why are you doing this? Like, is this like Hannibal? Like, why has he got like special treatment? And I've seen jail cells in this game before, and you go up to him, and he's like, "You come to see the monster," and then you talk to him. Turns out he's a fucking vampire. And it's
werewolf.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's vampires, there's werewolves. Those are side quests. You can become either or if you want to. And but yeah, I thought I was like, that is just such a cool fucking side quest, and it was really interesting. Yeah, I just did that one like last night.
Come to gawk at the monster. A little girl is dead because of me. Believe me, it wasn't anything I ever intended to do. I just lost control. I tried to tell them, but none of them believed me. It's all on account of this blasted ring. This is the Ring of Hersing. I was told it could let me control my transformations. Perhaps it used to, but I'll never know.
And you can't take the ring off until you complete the side quests. Like, the ring is supposed to randomly turn you into a werewolf or whatever. But I think if you don't have, like, the lycanthropy disease, it doesn't have any effect. Because I haven't turned into a werewolf yet. Because, yeah, the guy was afflicted with it, and as soon as he took the ring off, he turned into a werewolf and escaped the his prison cell. So, but that was that's a good one. I'm like right in the middle of that one right now.
Yeah, I mean, this game is full of awesome side quests. You will just go into a neighborhood and just see like these two guys like interrogating a guard. Like, we're looking for a fugitive, and you got to decide, like, should I help them? Should I help the woman that they're hunting down? Like, what's going on?
We talk about fucking like desert island games sometimes. Like, if you were stuck on a desert island, what game would you, if you can only choose one game to play for the rest of your life?
Well, this would definitely be in there.
This would be it for me, because like I've played
so much to do.
I've played hundreds of hours of this game, and I haven't even seen close to everything yet. You know, like
but it also just doesn't get old. Like I booted this game up, and I'm like, I had like I've done this before. When did I do this? Was this Oblivion? Am I mixing it? Like, it's a 10-year-old game, and I'm still playing it, but I'm still seeing things for the first time. The mods definitely refresh it, but it's like Star Wars, man. It's just like, it feels good, and you see things that you didn't see before.
It's like putting on an old sweater, man. Every time I boot it up, it's like, this is just comfy and cozy, you know?
I have it written down. It's a comfy blanket game.
Definitely.
Where it's just like,
it's one you could get lost in. Like, I was playing for like 3 hours the other night, and I'm like, wow, it's fucking 2 a.m. already? Like, where did the time go?
That happened last night. My kids had a hard time sleeping. One took a light nap, and he finally fell asleep around like 10 something, like a little after 10. And I'm like, all right, I want to play one more session. I want to just get like a companion, just do some combat stuff, and just, you know, kind of check out some dungeons and stuff like that. And, get a couple of new mods and stuff like that. But dude, I played that game from 10:30-ish till like 1:30 in the morning last night.
I did the same thing.
And I was just like, God damn it, man. I lost track of time.
That's why it's tough.
Bullshit too. I feel like I didn't accomplish anything, but maybe I did. I mean,
that's the beauty of it.
But
that's the beauty of it, man. Like, just traveling around discovering stuff is
didn't even do a lick with the main quest.
No.
All right. Well, we've been talking about this for over an hour. I think we could make a podcast just about this game. I know there's people that have, but we had to talk about this. I mean, how can we make a podcast called The Nomads of Fantasy without the game that literally rewards you for being a nomad in a world of fantasy? So like, this is like the epitome of why we like video games. This is why we like fantasy stuff. This is, I don't know, I think this is a great game. Eric, you said many times that this is like possibly your favorite game
of all
time, more or less, right?
Yeah, closing thing for me. Like, if anyone asks me like what my favorite game is, I always say Skyrim. Like definitely top of my list. If I had to make a top 5, Skyrim would be at the top of my list. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is one of those games where I feel like we all have those games where it came out at the perfect time in your life. Like this game came out in 2011. So I was a senior in high school. So basically, I mean, I played football in high school. So this came out in November, right after football season ended. So I was free. I mean, I worked at McDonald's, but I had limited shifts during the week.
McDonald's and Skyrim. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, baby. I would come home from school right after this game released. I would play fucking for hours. And I like every day I would just come home from school, boot it up, fucking get lost in Skyrim. And it was like the perfect time for it to come out in my life because I had the time to play it. And like this was the first big RPG that I really dug into, like big Western RPG anyways. Like I never played any Fallouts or any previous Elder Scrolls games, like I said. So, and this was the one that kind of kicked off my love for the series and love for games like this. So
have you gone back and played Oblivion since?
I have played Oblivion, definitely not as much as Skyrim, and I enjoyed Oblivion, but I never finished it or anything.
Play the fuck out of
that
Oblivion,
one was
personally. That was good.
It's tough to go back to because I think it was one hand combat. You could only have like one spell or one sword or whatever. But
I don't think it's that bad to go. I honestly think if you're listening to this and you're a big fan of Skyrim and you never played Oblivion, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that these guys fucking pulled off a pretty good ass game for 2004 or whenever it came out. Like, I don't know. I played it recently. I was like, this is good.
It still looks good. I mean, it still looks good. It's still got that fantasy feel to it. But that reminds me of one last thing I want to fix in the update. Can I get a better quick selection for my weapons and stuff?
Yeah.
Like right now, you can just have left or right to have
I'm with you.
one thing, and then give me a radial wheel, please.
Yeah,
radial wheel for sure. I mean, you could still have the favorite slots, but like, I mean, get with the radio wheel, like man.
Red Dead,
but it is 10 years old, so you can't hold it against it. I mean,
because eventually with that favorite system, you end up favoriting like 50 different things, so you have to scroll through this entire list.
It's so long,
super cumbersome. It's good for like keyboard and mouse, but on a controller, it's horrible.
It's a buzzkill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, that's another thing.
I was a little hesitant when we said we're gonna do this because like this game, like you said, is one that sucks you in. So now like to make a choice, like do I want to play another 2 to 3 hours of Skyrim or should I play something new? You know, because the longer you play Skyrim, the more your back catalog is building up and things that you possibly could be playing is slipping by. It's tough.
It's in my rotation. It's never left over these last 10 years. Like, I mean, good for them. I mean,
I go in waves.
Updates, but yeah, like I'll just need the itch where I just need to have I don't know. Like when I first played Daggerfall back in the 90s, like my brother installed it on the computer and I played it and I was just blown away that like, hold on a second. I can do whatever I want. Like I can just go in that building. Like I don't have to do the mission. Back in the 90s, like you're just always doing just do what you're told, right? And I was just like, man, this is so cool. And like here we are today. And like I just like that this game is full of so much content that I haven't seen all of it, and I can just go in there and just make my own story. And I don't know, sometimes I just want to wander, man. Like when I wander in Assassin's Creed, it's just like a poor version of Skyrim though.
That one, it's just like literally it's figuring out your draw distance and it's just dropping like NPCs everywhere, but they're not doing anything. Like they're just they're just walking down a road.
It doesn't feel alive.
As soon as they're out of sight, they basically de-res from the environment and they're gone. Like this one, people like it has weight to everybody being where they are. They're 100%. Supposed to be there. Yeah. So
yeah, it's just hard. So you just don't see it much. And like, no matter what, I don't know, any other RPG just isn't doing this. And I just like that there's this little Game of Thrones version of Westworld that I can just tap into and add a great mod and
great boiled down statement right there. It's Game of Thrones Westworld
or Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a fantasy playground essentially. You know,
it's more than just your regular game. I guess is what I say. It's like this is a big fucking. It's like human beings can create some amazing things, and Skyrim is one of those things. I think I'm not saying like fucking like putting us on the moon, but like when it comes to like books and movies and TV shows and games, like Skyrim just did. I don't know. It just did something for the industry, I guess. It's incredible.
I feel like every time I want to boot it up, I need to block out at least like 2 hours. Like I feel like an hour is pushing it. Like you can't get a whole lot done in an hour, but like 2 to 3 hours is a good chunky play session for Skyrim. Like that's just enough time to get lost or complete a couple side quests or do everything. I just like traveling around, getting lost in the world, discovering new stuff. So
it's like
that's what I've been doing
too. It's that definitely like that role playing thing. Where like I just want to be.
I've been role playing a
hero.
lot. Yeah,
or
exactly.
I just want to be a normal person in a fantasy world and not like take on dragons. I just want to like.
Yep.
I want to see where this guard goes, and see like what he does. For some reason, I just want to like it's voyeuristic or something like that.
Why does nobody poop?
Watch.
Yeah, right. There's no toilets.
I just noticed that.
Oh.
I might have just broken the game. Uh-oh.
People just shit outside. They don't need to.
Nobody. They don't have outhouses. They don't have bathrooms. So where does everybody poop in Skyrim?
They got a lot of forests in Skyrim and a lot of leaves. That's all they need.
Well, shit. I don't know. Now they just ruined it. They ruined the whole game for me.
No, you just add it to the list of things that you want and next.
Add to the mod. Add the shitter.
Working toilets.
Hey, Dovahkiin, shitter's full.
They did that with Red Dead 2. They're like in the horse's shit. Remember? That was like a feature.
And they had big old balls.
Their balls shrank in
the
cold. So yeah, great.
Yeah.
Add
Well,
more
that's
of
a great closing segment on Skyrim.
Elder Scrolls 6 needs shrinking horse balls. That's all I'll say.
Better horses for sure. All right. I got a surprise for you guys now that we're moving into the final. Yeah,
we talked for Skyrim so long, I forgot we had another segment.
Yeah, so we close every episode with a game. And I love it when we make up games. I love that we come up with a thing. So I got one, and it is called Oh No, Hugh Didn't.
Oh no, Hugh didn't.
Hugh?
I didn't say you, I said Hugh.
Like colors
yes.
and stuff?
No, that's the name, Hugh. So that's your teaser. So let's take a break, and then when we come back, I'll plug you in on what this game is about.
I only know 2 Hughs.
I know one, and it's Brandon's brother.
We have returned with a new game.
Oh, great.
And it is called Oh No, Hugh Didn't. I was telling Eric between the recording here that I just like this. I like saying that, and I was like, oh, what if I just took out the word you and put Hugh? I can make a game off of that. So we did. I love coming up with games for this podcast. So the concept here is, first one to buzz in, who thinks they know the answer. There are 3 Hugh actors out there. Hugh.
Oh God.
Yep. Hugh Jackman, famous for Wolverine.
Okay, you're gonna tell us. That's good.
Yeah. Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant has been around for a while. He's like the British proper guy who was in I don't know.
Yep.
Rom-com.
Rom-coms, a lot of rom-coms, yeah. Cheated on Elizabeth Hurley. My God, what an idiot. And then Hugh Laurie. He's the guy who played House. So he's been around for a while. Yeah, so those are the 3 Hughs.
Okay.
It is up to you to find out. You have to guess which one did it, because the other 2 didn't.
Oh, God.
So round 1 is going to be movies.
Which one did
round round 2 is going to be TV shows, and round 3 is going to be other. Now, all 3 of these guys are not Americans. 2 are British, one's from Australia, and I don't think we know much about these guys other than we've just are familiar with their performances over the last few decades. So that's fine.
Sure.
Eric, maybe you don't know too much on maybe Hugh Grant, because he did start in the 90s, and
I know some Grant. A little Grant. I know a little Grant.
Okay, all right. Well, I hope so, because he's one of the answers. So all you have to do is, when I ask a question, buzz in your name and then say which Hugh you think it is. So that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. So round 1 is movies. The first question is, which Hugh was a voice in Happy Feet? Happy Feet was the Penguin CGI movie that came out a few years ago.
Eric. I believe that was Hugh Jackman.
Eric is correct.
Yes.
Very nice. That's impressive that you knew that.
Who was he in that? Who was he in the movie?
I couldn't tell you that.
I don't know. A penguin? I have no idea. I have no idea.
All right.
I didn't like that movie, honestly.
The IMDb pulled up here.
Wasn't Robin Williams in there too?
I know that Frodo was in there. Elijah Wood. I think he was Happy.
Elijah Wood was Mumble. Hugh Jackman was Memphis.
Was Robin Williams in there?
Or Humble is?
No, I don't know.
I swear he was in some Penguin
this was
movie.
2006. I don't see Robin Williams on here, but little did you know that Fat Joe was in Happy Feet.
Jeez. Okay.
No, Robin Williams isn't here. Ramon/Lovelace.
I knew it.
All right. Well, anywho.
There's a star-studded cast in here.
Yep. All right. Second question. Which Hugh is going to be in the next Dungeons and Dragons movie that's slated to come out, I think, next year?
Dave.
This is Dave's wheelhouse.
Oh, I immediately thought Jackman.
I know Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, and
I immediately thought Jackman because it seems like something that he would be in, but I'm gonna go take a left turn. I'm gonna say Hugh Laurie.
Incorrect, Eric.
All right, I got a 50-50 shot here. I'll just go with Hugh Grant.
It's Hugh Grant.
Sweet.
Really? What is he going to be?
IMDb. I don't know. I just looked at the movies that are upcoming, and he had Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Oh, shit. Little side note fact again.
I do believe that there is a dragon outside of the castle.
Well, he's a little too prim and proper. He's got to be. Yeah, he's got to be he's got to be a highborn or a prince or something shit like that. There was also a second Hugh in Happy Feet, Hugo Weaving. Don't forget about him. Double Hughes.
Wow.
I guess.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Sidetracking. All right. Question 3. Which Hugh was in Paddington 2?
Eric?
Wow. Yeah, that's got to be an easy one.
I would just gander, or I don't know why I said gander. I would just guess Hugh Grant again.
It is Hugh Grant.
Oh, see, I would have been wrong again there too.
Look at Hugh over there with all the answers.
I know my Hughs, apparently.
You throw House in there, he's just like he's the one-off Hugh that nobody wanted.
He's the distraction.
That's great. Which Hugh was in Stuart Little?
It's got the English one. I'm just kidding. Lowry?
Dave is going to go, and he says Hugh Laurie. And Dave is correct.
Oh, okay. It's still a game. Okay, all right.
I was giving that to you.
Ooh, pity. I love it. All right, that has concluded round 1. Eric has the lead with 3-1 here. So we're going to TV shows.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought it was just the 3. I didn't know that other one counted too. Okay, sweet.
Yep. So question 1 for TV shows. Which Hugh co-starred in a show from 1994 to 1996 called Snowy River The McGregor Saga, which also co-starred Guy Pearce.
Oh, wow. Eric. That's my name, Eric.
Sound like a Nord.
Guy Pearce, eh? I'll go with what's the other one? Hugh Lowry.
Yeah, Hugh Lowry.
Is that it?
Is that what you're going through? Yeah, you are incorrect.
Oh, fuck.
Not
All right,
Lowry.
Dave.
So, who could I see acting with Guy? I don't think it's
Between
Grant.
1994 and 1996.
94, 96, though. That's a long time ago. That's Grant's heyday. I'm going to go with Hugh Grant. No?
Both of us?
Nobody gets a point.
Oh.
It was Hugh.
Really?
Jackman.
Oh, should have went
Very
my
young
instincts there.
I don't know.
I thought that was
going
gonna
to
be too soon.
early work.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be too early for him.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, I knew you guys weren't going to know the TV show, but I thought like that would have been a good one because how old would he have been, you know?
All right.
Like 24, 26?
I thought about guessing him, but I obviously was not confident.
Which Hugh had their first role in a TV series that started in 1982?
Dave.
Ooh, 82.
It's got to be Hugh Grant. He's the old man. He's the old Hugh.
I don't know. Lowry's older.
It is incorrect.
I'm going to go with Lowry then.
It is Hugh Lowry. Hugh Grant was in 83. He was a year later.
Oh.
Shame.
Which Hugh appeared in an episode of The Nanny, the TV show in the 90s? Eric? Okay.
That's got to be Hugh Grant for sure. 100%.
It has got to be Eric on fire because it is.
I love
Look
The
at
Nanny.
Eric. Yep. Oh, man, yeah.
You love The Nanny?
I really
it
liked
was a
that
good
show a
It was
lot
funny.
when I was a kid.
if I've ever
I had
heard
a
that,
crush
so.
on Fran Drescher.
Oh, we all did. I mean, her
no, we
voice was
didn't. No, we did not all
horrible.
have a crush on Fran
She's an attractive
Drescher.
woman in that movie or TV show.
Yeah, and then she opens her mouth and she makes that nasally voice.
I know. Yeah,
Like
so
that's
bad.
all. Yeah, it kills you.
Yeah. All right, ready? Last question for TV shows. Which Hugh appeared in one episode of a show called Viva Laughlin in 2007?
Viva
And
what?
The character Viva Laughlin in 2007. Only one episode. And their character was called Nicky Fontana.
Nikki Fontana.
Eric?
Yeah.
Ooh, Eric got you.
Yeah.
I just based on that name, I would go with Lowry.
Wrong.
Fuck.
I'm trying to think. Like Nikki Fontana sounds like an Italian. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Which one's
I feel
going to
like
be
Lowry
more
looks the most
more
Italian?
I'll go. Did you give a year for this? You said 2007.
2007.
Nikki Fontana was played by Hugh Grant. Damn it!
I would have went with Jackman. That's my second guess.
Man, I
Dave,
suck at this game.
I hope
This
you
game
get
is brutal. Just taking shots.
We'll never play this game again because, like, what can we do with the name Hugh? But
There's got to be more Hughes out there.
All right, ready? Round 3. This is just kind of miscellaneous other. All right, so this is just
Okay.
about the dudes themselves. All right. So, which Hugh was born in 1960?
Eric. So that would make him what? 61.
61.
So yeah, what do you say? 1960, right? That
Yeah.
would make him 61.
Yep.
So, I'm going with Lowry. I'm just putting it out there.
All right, and you went wrong.
Fuck.
You
Well,
chose poorly.
I'll go with Grant.
Yeah, if you said Hugh Jackman,
Hugh Jack. I don't know. Hugh Jackman's mid-50s probably.
he's 51.
He's getting up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, ready? Which Hugh has a different first name that's not actually Hugh?
Oh, I think Eric. Wait, now I'm second guessing myself. I'm guessing Hugh Jackman, but we just had him. I could have sworn I heard something about Hugh Jackman. Whatever, that's my guess. I'm probably wrong.
You are incorrect, Dave. Do you want to go?
Yeah, Hugh Grant or Hugh Lowry. House MD or Pretty Boy Grant. I'm gonna go with Hugh Grant. He seems like the kind of guy that would change his name for Hollywood fame and fortune.
Hugh Lowry. I think his name was originally James. Yep.
Wow.
James Lowry.
James Hugh Lowry. Yep.
Why would you go with Hugh?
Oh, he went with a middle name.
Yep, it was just a middle name. Yep.
Maybe it was taken by the
name change. He just goes by his middle name.
That's weird. Huh.
Which Hugh has received 2 Golden Globe Awards?
No.
The 2 have 1, and this one has 2.
It's got to be Hugh Jackman because he's a musical guy. Or, well, no, Golden Globes aren't musical. Those are TV, aren't they? Fuck.
That's why it's very specific to.
I'm going to change mine to Hugh Lowry.
What? You can't change it.
I'll allow it because you're whooping his ass. So Dave is correct. It is Hugh Lowry.
Really? Well, I wouldn't have guessed that anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Hugh Grant had none, and Hugh Jackman had a bunch, but they were he only had 1.
I was thinking Tony Awards at first. Because Hugh Jackman likes to sing and dance, too.
Final question. Which Hugh can sing and play the piano, drums, guitar, harmonica, and saxophone?
Eric. I don't know. I would guess Hugh Jackman. He's a multi-talented guy.
Eric's going first. He says Hugh Jackman, and he is...
not correct.
Incorrect.
I'm
sorry, but that Hugh didn't.
Man that plays all those instruments must be older. So I'm gonna guess Hugh Grant. He looks like the fancy pants that would play a whole bunch of instruments.
Incorrect again.
So it's Hugh Lowry. Hugh Lowry, apparently makes music, and he has albums and stuff. Yeah,
I've never heard of such a thing, but
I know. I love. This is fun. All right, so let me count this up here. Eric, Dave.
I was gonna say I think it's closer than we think it is.
Eric, no one.
Probably
Dave,
not.
No one. Dave, no one. It was 5-3. Eric,
not bad.
Not bad. I had a lot of chances in there. I'm just taking shots in the dark.
Well,
I don't know my Hughes.
Yeah, thanks for playing that one. Had fun with that. It was fun just kind of looking at the 3 different. And hey, we learned something about our Hughes, okay? Maybe, I don't know, if you're listening to this, maybe you're going to go check out Hugh Lowry's discography and
I want to see what's going on there.
Discography. Yeah. He has albums out?
That's what it looked like. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
really?
He's like a musician. Yeah. Well, it's always funny. Like when you look at older actors who have kind of kept with it, they always have roles where they were a producer or a director or a singer or a musician. And Bruce Willis has a band or had a band. He tried really hard to be a rock star, I think, at one point, and it didn't take off. But
there are a lot of Hugh Lowry songs out there. It looks like he's got 3 or 4 albums, but I don't know if some of those are musical accompaniment.
Dave, thanks for volunteering to check it all out to find us the best one, so you can send it to us in Discord. That'd be great.
I'll get right on
Listen to all that Hugh Lowry.
All right. Well, anyways, so that was Skyrim. That was No Hugh Didn't, and that was fun. This is our 31st episode. We are getting ready to wrap up the season here. We're looking at some heavy hitters. The new Matrix movie will be coming out soon. We'll be talking about that. So we're going to talk
I have
about the
to
Matrix
watch all
in general.
the Matrix movies and the Animatrix.
Yep. Yeah, I think the Animatrix in the first anime and the first Matrix is where all the good story is. So anyway, I'm going to do the same thing. Any closing statements, guys?
Safe travels, and don't forget to feed your kids when you're playing Skyrim. Don't get sucked in.
Yeah, I feel like I've said everything I need to say about Skyrim. And yeah, I don't know. I'll probably go play some more.
Yeah, who knows? We might cover it again in some capacity. Always open to suggestions from our audience. If you guys want to ask us to do something, we're definitely open. We have things that we want to do, but we're definitely open to suggestions. Otherwise, I think that's it. Let's get out of here, and then we'll see everybody in the next episode.
Peace out.
See ya.